As the first thin ribbon of light slips beneath the curtain of night and the world inhales again, there is a sacred hush that arrives before the day's noise. A soft, almost holy pause that invites the soul to wake not merely in body but in attention. In that early hour, when the ordinary things are still wrapped in the quiet of becoming, allow your heart to be a witness. Notice how the breath moves in and out like a small liturgy. How each inhale stitches you to the gift of life and each exhale hands you back to the mystery that surrounds you. This is the cradle of gratitude, a deliberate leaning toward the simple fact that you are here, that your eyes open, that your pulse remembers its rhythm, that the world shows up again with its familiar textures and relentless possibility. Let your thoughts slow enough to sit with the astonishment of morning. Think of the day as a leaf that has been placed in your hands. Fragile, green with potential, trembling with dew and with the promise that even small things can hold enormous meaning. In this quiet, before your lists begin to scroll themselves across your mind, invite a posture of listening. There is a particular language in the dawn, the hush of the sky, the distant and faithful stirring of the city, the bird that practices its song as if reminding you and the cosmos alike that joy can be an act of return. Let that song teach you gratitude for the ordinary, for the steady warmth of a cup of tea or the simple comfort of a blanket, for the sound of your own name whispered in memory or prayer, for the presence of those you love even if they are not beside you. Gratitude is not merely an emotion but a channel. When you intentionally name what you have been given, you open a pathway through which grace moves more freely into the rest of your day. Hold, too, the reality that each morning is a small resurrection, an invitation to rise again from the small debts of yesterday, the mistakes, the lost words, the bruised hopes, and to step into a renewed apprenticeship with hope. It is not a denial of pain to celebrate the dawn. Rather, it is an insistence that pain does not have the final say over your story. In this practice of waking, acknowledge the weight you carry. Bring it into the light of the room as you would bring a plant toward the sun. Name specific burdens so they cease to live in the fog. Speak to them as a compassionate witness. Release what you cannot heal this morning into the hands of a benevolent, competent God who is not surprised by the tangled parts of your life. Let confession be brief, clear, and liberating, an offering that creates space for mercy to enter. And then, with the resolve of one who has been given more time, set your intention for the day. Intention is not a rigid command but a loving alignment. I will look for beauty. I will choose patience. I will be generous with my attention. Choose one small thing, a single person you will pray for, a single habit you will interrupt, a single phrase you will speak into the world, and let that be your lodestone through the hours to come. As you dwell in this waking, remember that creation itself is a chorus that testifies to a heart at work beyond human comprehension. The sun does not hesitate to rise. The tides do not consult opinion polls. The seasons continue their patient revolutions, teaching you to trust cycles more than frantic control. Let the patterns of nature instruct your soul in a kind of steady faithfulness. If you attempted to hurry, imagine instead the measured patience of a tree. It does not rush to bear fruit but opens to the rhythms of root and rain, trusting that seasons will converge into harvest. Your spiritual life is less about dramatic leaps and more about these small, faithful practices that compound into transformation. A moment of silence before a meeting, a short breath of prayer before a difficult conversation, a choice to rest rather than perform. These are the quiet investments of the morning that yield fruit when the day demands more of you than you expected. Practice the gentle discipline of noticing the way light tilts across a wall, the way a neighbor's laughter lingers like a bell, the way your own hands feel when they touch something with intention. When you slow down to notice, You begin to discover that God's fingerprints are all over the ordinary, in the steam rising from a pot, in the crooked smile of a passing stranger, in the persistent green of plants that insist on thriving. This is how the sacred sneaks into the everyday, not always in thunderclaps but in the small, consistent proof that beauty persists. There will be moments in the day when loneliness whispers that you are alone in the effort. In those hours, remember that the very act of waking into the world is already an answer to the lie. The universe is a vast conversation, and you are included in its address. The devotional life trains your ear to hear the subtle ways the divine speaks, not always with an audible thunder, but with the tug of conscience, the nudge of compassion, the inexplicable opening of a door you thought closed. Practice listening as if your life depended on it, because in 1,000 small ways it does. When you pause to listen, truly listen, your sense of calling sharpens and your capacity to respond to what truly matters grows. Listening also teaches humility. You recognize that you are not the axis around which everything turns, and that realization can be freeing. It allows others to be themselves without the pressure of performing for your approval, and it invites you into a posture of curious love. The day will ask for decisions. Some will be simple, others heavy. Make them not from the fatigue of your flesh, but from the clarity of attentive prayer. Ask a short, direct question before you speak. Before you act, what is love asking of me right now? Then move, even if imperfectly, in the direction of that answer.